Hey everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts, the Super Vader 400, and of course, the brown skinned human coming back at you with another video, and this time this is a brand new video. This right here is a salute, thank you, and salute, thank you video to every critic, every YouTuber, or every YouTuber I know who protested, ranted on, and bashed the hell out of the Amazing Spider-Man's Part 1 and 2 movies. This is my late, out of date, and late thank you letter, because I meant to do this in 2014, but I was coming up with ways to do this. I also wanted to wait until the newer Spider-Man's outgrows the Amazing Spider-Man film, so that's why this movie is happening several years. This video response right here is happening, this thank you letter is happening several years later. And not only thank you for protesting the Amazing, raining on and protesting the Amazing Spider-Man's 1 and 2, which I absolutely hated, but also showing me that it's possible. No matter how popular a franchise is, if a movie based upon that same franchise is terrible, no matter how popular it is, if a bunch of people come together, even those popular films, we can take them down and force them back into Marvel's hands, which I've been wanting ever since Sam Raimi was done. And that should have happened. That Amazing Spider-Man film crap fest, that should have never happened. And it sucks that there were two horrible movies, but better late than never. And I'm glad you guys rose to the occasion and voiced your disapproval of this film, because that inspired Sony to cooperate with Marvel from now on the Spider-Man films. Thank you also for helping me even the score up with 6+ Dragon Ball Evolution protest trash. That's Danny D. World, Abel, King Nazaru, XAM, Firefish Shikamaru, who's now goes by the name Amazing Dictator, and Neo Game Spark, and so many more like them. Thank you for helping me even the score up and expose them for the sheep, moron, hypocrites they were and have always been. Once again, I'll make my grand entrance with the Sonic We Can, which is the appropriate song for this video, because together we voiced our disapproval, and as we showed, we can, we could, and we did. We brought Spider-Man back home to Marvel, and now he's kicking so much ass with 2 awesome movies, Homecoming, Far From Home, and now we're about to get the biggest Spider-Man ever, all the way back home, something like that. I keep forgetting what the third one is called, but yeah. So then in the second part of this video, I'm gonna be on the floor right here, reading off my list of names. I apologize for the people whose names I get wrong, bowing and saluting to you guys while I thank you, while I go by each name, praising and thanking you for protesting and bashing this movie and bringing up other clues about you. So with that being said, let's get this party started right now. Alright. Number one on my tribute and thank you letter to the Amazing Spider-Man film protest team. Number one is my boy, the British critic Trilby Reviews, one of the greatest movie critics and movie minds of all time. Trilby, you are number one because it was you. You were the first not to go. You were the first to go against the grain. You were also the first not to go with the crowd. You saw right from the beginning what the Amazing Spider-Man films, both part one and especially part two, were about. They were not about, as you put it in your words, telling an interesting tale about the Spider-Man mythos like every single comic cartoon in the previous Sam Raimi's did. They were about selling more merchandise, toys in stores, and setting up future spin-offs and sequels and expose them for being the biggest cash grab ever because they drag you in there for 2.5 hours, pretty much a 2.5 hour toy commercial and advertisement to go watch other stuff, other movies that aren't going to be made now, and the fans and the butthurt Amazing Spider-Man fans who had no business near these movies gave you hell for it, but you stuck to your guns, and for that I salute you. You are true. You are the best. You are the greatest. Number two is you, John Avenger 1985. Now, when it comes to several movies in your list, I may disagree with you, and you probably disagree with several movies on my list that you see reviewed on my channel. But one thing we both agreed on was the corporate cash-in that was the Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2. Now, most people, for the most part, respect your opinion. You didn't get the hate Trilby got, but you said a lot of the same things. He called it out for a lot of the same things. You didn't talk much about comic book accuracy, but actually you did. You talked about the comic book inaccuracy, the terrible acting, dialogue, and the terrible villain motivation. How just like with Trilby, these Amazing Spider-Man films, how much of a corporate cash grab there was, making the same mistakes as the Sam Raimi versions, particularly Spider-Man 3, and once again just adding too much at Sony, adding too much stuff into the movie. Number 3 is Rambo Ralph for life, who this guy, I disagree with him on a lot of things. This guy is pretty much stuck in the past and is pretty much just about hates anything modern. But this is one of the many times I agree with him, and that was with the Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2. Rambo Ralph is number 3 because he unfortunately deleted his Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 rants. Another guy named John Borco, I think that's his name, re-uploaded his rants. Well, anyway, Rambo Ralph for life, I salute you for once again, just like Trilby, going against the grain and not buying into the hype, not buying into the media, and sticking to your guns and what you like and what you see on the big screen, and half agree with you, and I remember half agreeing with you and the other half giving you hell for not liking these pieces of shit movies. But yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man. You also had one of the more hilarious rants where you were making fun of Electro's dubstep music, the pen. I'm gonna be like the pen. What the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you saying? Shut the fuck up and let the action speak for itself. I can't quote exactly what you just said, but that's what you said. Then number 4, yeah, the number 4, one of the, besides probably the best collection of movie minds and critics, and that is you, Red Letter Media, Rich, and I keep forgetting the other two. I apologize for not remembering your names, but you guys, I've seen several of your reviews. I've seen several of your reviews. I was recommended to you guys in 2009. Finally got to see you when I saw your Amazing Spider-Man. Your Amazing Spider-Man. Your Amazing Spider-Man rants, and once again, you guys were the first to call out the Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2 and get no hate. For the most part, there's some dislikes on your video, as to be expected, but for the most part, everyone on that video agrees with you on how garbage and how terrible these film was. There weren't a lot of Amazing Spider-Man apologists in this section because they know they can't compete with you. You got the rich guy who've actually read the comic books, something most of these Amazing Spider-Man fans haven't done, and that was actually read the comics and know a thing or two about the characters. And you created a great long 30-minute satirical review that was more hilarious and more exciting than the quote-unquote movie, movie itself. So yeah, number five is my man Big Russ, who did a hilarious rant on The Amazing Spider-Man 2012, where he comically at the end named a series of movies. Superman, where he said the movie was so bad that after tearing the movie a new asshole, said several movies that were better. He said, number one, Superman Returns, Punisher 89, Batman Forever, Prometheus. The video you were doing, all of those better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2012. And you knew from the start, when you saw how bad 2012 was, you knew Amazing Spider-Man 2 was, so you didn't even review that because you knew that film wasn't even worth your time. Was that film even worth talking about and making fun of? No, it doesn't. Next is female Ship of War. The next is Ship of War. You are one of the greatest female Spider-Man and movie minds of all time. While you did surprisingly enjoy the second one, I have no problem with that. The second movie was made for your kind of people, but you called the first movie out on bullshit. And once again, a lot of people gave you hell. A lot of people gave you hell for that. But no, they're just fake, dumbass Spider-Man fans who don't know anything about the character. And yeah, you were one of the first people to mention Andrew Garfield's horrible characterization of Peter Parker, turned good-natured and nerdy Peter Parker into a lame, cringeworthy, try-hard, wannabe, hipster, edgelord, cocky show-off, asshole, and pretty much an Edward Cullen wannabe, which is what Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker was. Next, the spoony one. The spoony one. Let me tell you something. Let me talk about the spoony one. Let me talk about you, the spoony one. I used to hate you. I used to hate the spoony one, and I used to hate you. Back in 2009, I saw a review of a Uwe Boll film, Alone in the Dark, and I thought you and the Nostalgia Critic were cynical, were cynical, lame, and just unfunny. Several years later, you and your wife, I think her name was April, you guys tore apart The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You tore it apart so bad that you had to disable comments because apparently comments were so hateful for you tearing their Spider-Man film a new asshole, and you took a royal piss out of this film. It was hilarious, man. It was hilarious, and called it out for the inaccuracies to the comic books, the cliches, the horrible acting, plot holes, terrible, cringeworthy dialogue, everything bad about movies was The Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2. and 2. Next is Howler Mouse. Howler Mouse. Once again, one of the real OG Spider-Man fans. You see, his whole channel is dedicated to reviewing his comic book collection. He had one of the most hilarious Spider-Man reviews ever, where in the title he said, "The Amazing Spider-Man 2012 rant. Nothing amazing here." And he was right. You were right, man. Nothing was amazing about these films. I've said this a bunch of times. One thing I can't stand about Spider-Man fans, they don't know diddly squat about Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I mean the original Spider-Man from the 90s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, not the new age ultimate crap and superior Spider-Man and the Miles Morales stuff, all the stuff we hear about now in the 2000s and now the 2010s. I mean the originals. The originals don't know squat about Spider-Man, don't know squat about Spider-Man. Then when you try to school them on Spider-Man, they try to come up with garbage in order to excuse this garbage. Oh, well, he doesn't have to follow the comic books. And they're right, but you gotta have something good and something better than what was in these terrible movies right here. Some terrible movies right here. And then, and I've said a bunch of times, no one under the age of 30 is now 35. No one under the age of 35 and up knows anything, under the age of 35 and up knows anything about Spider-Man. They're posers who started, like myself, with the cartoons and learned about the comic books later in the early 2000s, but they did not read these comics, because if they were, they would not be, number one, they would not be going to these movies. Number two, they would not defend and try to excuse the pieces of shit these films were. So yes, thank you for Howler Mouse for being one of the OG comic book Spider-Man fans who called the film out on bullshit and didn't go with the crowd, and once again, just like every other person on this list, went against the grain, and I salute you. Next is, I think I pronounced your name wrong. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, and I didn't feel like looking it up to change it again. I will definitely look it up as soon as I upload this video, and in the tag section, the correct spelling of your name will be here. But that's Cosmonaut Failure, where you did the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, worse than you imagine. Loved your channel. Loved your channel. I disagree with you on several movies, such as Batman v Superman and Aquaman being the worst movies ever, but you're probably the only person who has the same opinion as me when it comes to Dragon Ball, Evolution, and the Amazing Spider-Man films. The correct opinion, the right opinion, is to hate both movies, because both were corporate cash-ins. But you, like me, you enjoy Dragon Ball Evolution, and so do I, and hate the Amazing Spider-Man films. You have long, awesome video commentary reviews, with commentary reviews in the vein of the nostalgia critic and angry video game nerd, the type of videos I want to make and am working towards now. A great channel. So yeah, Cosmonaut Failure. Yeah, and most of the people, they're a couple, but most of the people agree with how terrible these movies were. 11 is, I don't remember your YouTube username, but I'm gonna go by your the name you use in your videos, and that is Bad Motivators. When I saw this channel, I saw a guy, the head guy looks just like James Roth, Nintendo's nerd. James Roth, the angry video game nerd. And I thought that was him reviewing Spider-Man movies. No, it was you guys, and you guys had a cool, quick, satirical, fast-paced review talking about how bad the Amazing Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2 was. Yeah. Once again, always appreciate people being honest and calling out the Amazing Spider-Mans for the pieces of shit they were. And I salute you guys. Bad motivators. 12 is a review that's been up for several years, but I'm just now seeing it now. And that's you, Harry Thomas. You had a great, great short but informative review rant on the Amazing Spider-Man 2012. Then Lambo Rock Strikes Back, and I saw yours. You had a pretty cool Amazing Spider-Man 2 video. Then 14. This is the guy. You're the guy who recommended me to Harry Thomas, or recommended the other users to Harry Thomas, and that is Inside Out, Vanellope and Annie. Yes, parental guidance. No. You had an awesome, just like a similar rant to a similar informative rant to Harry Thomas, and I salute you for that great rant, man. "15 is The Promise with Land." Now, unlike everyone else, you didn't do a review. Instead, you did a predictions video, and you predicted, and you were right, several reasons why the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Why the Amazing Spider-Man 2 will suck. You once again called out Andrew Garfield and his lame, cringeworthy personality, how it doesn't fit Peter Parker at all, rehashing material from the Sam Raimi versions and rehashing everything terrible about those movies. None of the good stuff, and the stuff you did rehash that was good, you made it even worse in this film. Thank you for basically predicting the future, how much the movie would suck. 16, Ralph the Movie Maker. You probably have the best, most informative movie ever. You dissected the film not only from a comic book standpoint. Actually, you didn't even use the comic book standpoint. You didn't need it. You went by the acting, writing, directing, and terrible CGI. That is all you needed to tell us. Oh, and the blatant product replacement and setups to other movies. That is all you needed to know how bad this Amazing Spider-Man film franchise was. 17, Mr. TARDIS, another cool British reviewer. I think I can't find it, but you collabed with Trilby on the Amazing Spider-Man 2012 rant, and you had your own awesome Amazing Spider-Man 2. One of the first people to call the movie out for the bullshit, for the piece of shit and corporate cash grab it was. 18, Better Late Than Ever. Nostalgia critic Douglas Walker. For years, you liked and defended the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and you still like and defend them. Nothing wrong with that. But do not ever lie like that and try to excuse those. And you finally had to take the nostalgia goggles off and realize how bad that Amazing Spider-Man 2 was, and realize the Amazing Spider-Man 2012, which you still enjoy, you still think it's just okay. It's just okay. It's not good, or it's not good. 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 But it's not bad either. You said it's somewhere in the middle. It's okay. But you understood at the film, but that both of these movies suck, and I salute you for it. Your Amazing Spider-Man 2 rant, your Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume and character rants, where you have that guy with glasses team dressed as the characters from the Spider-Man movies and comics was even more hilarious. And the last guy on this list, there were more people, but I can't remember your usernames. The last guy on this list is Hollywood Guide. Hollywood Guide, you're last because first off, you got yourself banned from YouTube, and your old Amazing Spider-Man 2 rant, of course, you took it down, but you successfully dissected every reason this movie sucks. And one of the first people to dub this, and this is the Batman and Robin, the Joel Schumacher's Batman, the Joel Schumacher's Batman of the 2010s, of the modern day superhero movies, is The Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2, calling out the cheesiness, the inaccuracies to the comic books. The inaccuracies to the comic books is pitiful box office returns and critical reception and everything. You're last because you deleted that awesome video, but it was an awesome video, and I loved you triggering the Amazing Spider-Man fans. Once again, time for me to bow. All of you, I salute you. Thank you once again. Sorry about that. Thank you once again for showing that it is possible. It is possible to no matter how popular a movie franchise, no matter how popular a franchise is, if a movie is bad and a bunch of people come together, it is possible to protest and stop this movie series and bring it home to Marvel. Thank you for showing me that was possible, and thank you for thanks again for evening up the score with the Dragon Ball Evolution protest, and thank you for preserving not only the dignity and reputation of the Spider-Man movies, but the reputation of comic book movies, because we can't allow corporate cash-ins like this to be popular, because this movie said, and it would have gave other directors the idea to do this. This movie would have said right here, this movie said we don't need a script, we don't need a real good storyline. We can cram the film with fan service material, and people who recognize that comic book material will go to see this film. Then you have the other people who don't know anything about the comics, who are just looking for a good time, and that's what Sony was counting on, and they unfortunately still made back their movie, but they didn't get the money they want, and they didn't get the critical reception they want. So thank you, critics, and thank you everyone who protested and bashed this movie and showed that it was possible. Massive salute to you guys. You guys are the best. So with that being said, I'm finished. You don't want to hear the rest of the music? Turn the video off right now.